many tips.
Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, and we are on Reseller Revenue meeting for our morning meetings that we do Monday through Thursday. We're going to talk about what levers we could pull for eBay when we're having problems. I do hear people talking about summer slowdown to a certain extent. Some of that's probably true. We all have ups and downs, and some of it's probably what we sell in the summer, because if you sell clothing, you know that the clothing just isn't as high dollar value in the summer as it is in the winter. If you're selling, shorts and t-shirts, they just don't carry the value that boots and coats do. So that's a true thing. So that's like a summer slowdown net profit issue. So that's not a myth, but sometimes we find whatever myth we can hide behind to excuse slow sales. So you guys know how I am about that. So we're going to have ups and downs. That's totally normal, but there are levers we can pull, and there's levers you can pull even if you're having a good week. And Meg always reminds me that we talk about every once in a while is I would say if you're full-time, if you're a full-time reseller and you can't, and if I said you need $1,000 by the end of the week, cash, you got to make $1,000 and get it, hand it to me by the end of the week in cash. And you are like, I can't do it. There's either something wrong or you have an emotional attachment or something, because we should all be able, full-timers should be able to liquidate or to do these levers to come up with quick cash. And sometimes I feel like there's lots of us, myself included, need to be pulling these levers and getting some liquidation happening anyway. We also talk about sometimes, that there's that myth of that first offer in the morning. If you take it and it gets things going, I actually think that's a thing. eBay thrives off velocity. eBay likes sales moving. eBay likes that ball rolling of money. And there's times where we need to just take the offer. We need to be sending the offers. We need to get the ball rolling when it's not. Lots of times when mine isn't completely, I will look and, oh, there's a new INAD. That's what happened to me yesterday. Like, oh, there's an INAD. Um, or something like that. And I do believe those can stop our traffic temporarily. I'm on board with that. But the rest of the time, sometimes I'm being stubborn. Sometimes I list a bunch of high dollar items and then I get real funny about it, because that 10% off of a $150 item looks a lot scarier than the 10% off a $20 item. So the different levers that we can pull, and everybody's going to have different ones. So this is just a my experience, what I do when things are slow or when I need to get things moving, or when I need to speed up my eBay life or my money. Sometimes I need money for a big buy or something, is I list more. And nobody wants to hear this answer, because this is not the answer that's the popular answer, because nobody really wants to list more. However, in the summertime, that's a really good way for clothing sellers to combat the summer slowdown. List more items, do more work. And I know that nobody wants to hear it, but it works. So I don't know if you guys have ever put in that extra shift and done some extra listings and really worked harder than you usually do, and all of a sudden more sales happen. Not really a coincidence. That really happens sometimes. So, if you're broke and then you find yourself at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon sitting there staring at the TV, maybe stare at your light box or wherever you take pictures instead and do an extra round of listings. And you may start to realize, like, this was really great because, like, I have more money. So list more. Maybe do easy stuff. So if I do extras, I will batch together like belt buckles. Belt buckles are super easy to photograph, super easy to list, and they don't feel like the so much extra work. So I will do more of one item so that I can just buzz right through and just get things done. So that it doesn't feel as bad doing those extra 5. Maybe do some extra drafts. Just put in the extra work is basically what I'm saying for that lever. The pricing strategy. So if you want to sell more items, sometimes we can just go in, and if you guys do a bulk edit on pricing, sometimes it also will help artificially bump your items. Not that I'm saying we should do that, but it will. So sometimes you can like bulk edit and you can change drop everything 5%. Try to get some stuff moving, because anything 5% or more, any watchers will get notifications. Don't know if any of you guys have done that before, but if I've had a couple, 2, 3 really slow days in a row, I will go in and lower my prices 5%, even if it's not time to. And it will get some sales generating. And like I said, once you get some sales generating, lots of times more will follow. So And of course, you guys know I think we should have an aged inventory markdown system because otherwise we're going to be staring at the same crap for years, and that's not a really good place to be. So, sometimes our pricing stuff has changed. So I had some like Juliana brooches in my store, and because I have a bigger store, I have like 2,300 items in my store now. I things don't individually pop out at me anymore, and sometimes I have to go back and check because the market is tanked on Juliana, right? So I can leave it sit there and hope, or I can go adjust my prices on what I know the prices have changed to and what has gone down. So if you know that you've had a certain brand or a certain item, let's say right now it's winter coats, and you want to do a crazy markdown sale on them, maybe now's the time to do that. But sometimes markets change and the things that were hot aren't anymore. So slash those prices, do that markdown, get that cash, go use it to buy things that are hot right now. Promotions and sales. We know how to run discounts. We know how to run markdowns. I know a lot of people in this group have used that get 20% off any 3 or more items. That kind of encourages multi orders. So if you're in a small category like me for smalls for jewelry, I haven't gone one single day since the last time I can remember without having at least one multi quantity order every day. I get multi-quantity orders every day. So that may be harder depending on what category you're in. So I understand that. But if you're in a category that like books or jewelry or something people could make that big order with easy, that's an option. Do a percentage off if they buy 3 or more. I do think that works. And it gives you a little banner on your store, just like a coupon. Do some tiered sales depending on how long something's been in the store. Do a brand sale. So you could say all Levi's this much off. All, something that you're a little heavy on in your store that you have quite a bit of. Do a sale just on that brand. Do a sale just on shorts. Do a sale just on sandals. You could do that and just choose by category. And I think that works too. And it gets people in your store. And once they see your sale items, lots of times then they'll go and buy something else. Promoted listings. I know this is a touchy subject. Some people are on one whole direction, some are on another. But if you have good listings and good items and your titles aren't terrible and you have slow sales, you're probably getting out promoted by your competition. And that's just a fact. And so we talked a little bit about it yesterday. If you're in a really crowded category and a saturated category, it's easy to get out promoted. And I've said before, if I'm at 10 or 12%, mostly 10. I think it was at 10 when I did the actual experiment. I was on page 5 the first day. That's a lot of scrolling, guys. If somebody has to scroll that hard to get to your items, will you still make sales on accident sometimes? It's like the even blind squirrels get a nut sometimes type of theory. Yep. You're gonna still get sales sometimes. That's why I give you the best methods to follow. It's not always doesn't mean you couldn't accidentally have them sometimes, but if you're getting out promoted all the time, you need to look at it. And then you need to figure into your buy costs, how to afford it. I truly believe in every category, your money's made on the buy, not on the sell. If you're overpaying for your items, you're going to have a hard time making that profit at the end. You have to have a margin to leave yourself some wiggle room for things like promoted listings and offers and, all the good stuff that comes with eBay. So if you already overpaid, too bad, so sad, your customers don't care. Right? So if there's one of my favorite sellers on Whatnot. She always goes off what she paid. Sometimes that makes sense, but on eBay it does not make sense because you know what happens? They don't care. And now you're overpriced in the market and people aren't buying your stuff. So if you made a mistake, just get out of it. Put it up, get your cash again and get out of it. Don't hold on to that too high a price just because you overpaid for that item. We work on averages. We need to talk about what happens across the board to us every day, not just what happened with one item. Your pictures sometimes, and actually, I can't think of anybody in our group, including the new people, that don't have good pictures. So we are fortunate in that way. You guys do a great job with your pictures. But sometimes, and it happens to me all the time, I'll be looking at an older listing and I'll be checking it out. And I realize my first picture is really far away and that if you're scrolling, so scroll your own store on the cell phone. Scroll your items. And if that first picture, you can't really tell what it is or it's not impressive to you, it's certainly not impressive to other people that are scrolling on by on their phone. So I will go in and I will switch up that first photo to like a really close up photo or a photo that like captures the sparkle or something. And lots of times that will sell the item. But if you're scrolling through your store and you can't tell what it is and you don't want to stop on it, nobody else is stopping on it either. So if you have a shipping strategy, I'm not ever going to tell everybody that they should do free shipping ever. I think actually free shipping is not in a lot of categories a good idea at all. But sometimes your shipping is too high. So if I'm looking for a piece of jewelry, I'm not going to pay $6.50 for a piece of jewelry to ship it. I'm just not. So sometimes calculated shipping, I do believe hinders our sales because it shows weird to the customers. Sometimes when I'm looking for jewelry and I could tell somebody has calculated shipping on, and it'll say like $5 to $8.50. Well, as a customer, you're going to go in and click that button, not knowing which it is. And that happens all the time. So I think if you're in a small item category or even a big item category, but I realize if you're new, that may take a while to get comfortable with it. But especially in a small item category like jewelry, we should be doing flat rate shipping. I strongly believe that. I think it also helps our sales. I think it makes customers more confident. I also think we should have a shipping policy for each additional item. So for me, it's $5.50 the first item and 50 cents each additional item and free shipping after $50 order. I cannot tell you how many people you could tell added that extra item to get that free shipping. That shipping lots of times not costing me over $6. So it's worth it to me. You sell really big thing, like I'm not going to tell Harry you should do, 50 cent each additional shipping on a trombone. That's not smart. So we have to do it according to our categories. But if you have small items, I think the flat rate shipping is the way to go, and then have each additional item policy. Larry has successfully done, for the most part, flat rate shipping, even with, some larger items, and he's been pretty successful at it. And I feel like customers like it. I like it as a customer. So consider it. And if you're not doing same day or one day handling, I do think it makes a difference in the algorithm. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't, and it's going to make you have late shipments, then don't do it. Right? I'd much rather you have a 2 or 3 day handling policy and then have late shipments. Late shipments are no good. Don't want to do it. But and same day was way too stressful for me. And I can honestly say my traffic and my sales did not change between same day and one day at all. So I don't think that matters. But I do think when you start into 2 to 3 days, sometimes it makes a difference. So if you can handle one day shipping, I would suggest going to wage day shipping. If you can't, don't. If it's going to make have late stuff, don't. Offers to watchers. So I have watched and listened to a lot of people that are very successful on eBay. They will say some people stockpile their watchers to whether it's after a sale or it's after when it's slow. Those people probably already bought what they were looking for in your store. You missed it. Sometimes it will work. I'm not saying it can't work, but we got to strike while the iron's hot when it comes to offers to watchers. If you're playing that game, we need to be sending them all the time. I do believe that because it's while they're searching for the item, they're in the mood to spend their money. They're in the mood to get that item. If we wait till 3 or 4 days later when our sales are slow and we want to start sending a bunch of offers, those people have moved on. Usually they're not interested anymore. Can you still get sales from it? Yes. Is it going to be as effective? No, I believe it's not. So you can automate it or do it manually. I do it manually. I found when I did try the automation on some, just to tell you guys how it went, it was kind of clunky. I didn't like it. So, and make sure that you don't have them automatically turned on accident. I hear a lot of people saying that toggle switch is really easy to turn on. So if you don't want them automated, then you need to go in and turn it off. Lots of people send between 12 and 15% off. Don't insult customers by sending them 5% off offers. I will say that is irritating to me as a buyer. Like, ooh, I go to my email to open up the offer I get and it's 5% off. I'm like, wow, guys, living large here. Wait, thanks for, it's just not, nobody's really getting excited about anything. Even 10% is pretty like, eh. Have I done 10%? I have. Do I think people get excited over it? No. What I do is
on those.
I will send an offer based on Catherine. I'm going to meet you here quick. I will do
Ah,
I will do a offer dependent on what I would take from them. So if somebody sent me a 20% off offer and I take it happily, then I will send 20% off offers happily because I would take a 20% off offer if they sent it to me. I take pretty much offers if it's 30, like 32% and lower, I take that immediately. I don't even look at the item or don't even care. That's me. You have to decide what works for your store for that.
do you do
So,
offers on even like the items you listed this morning if somebody
of
shows
course,
interest?
I want to sell
And
them.
do you do that at a lower offer than like ones that have been sitting for a while?
I still want to sell it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
want it out the door, ready to get that money. Um, the store categories, make sure, I don't know that I think it's really important, but if you go into somebody's store and the banner is blank, I think that kind of makes you feel like unofficial. So if you haven't set up your store, I don't think a lot of people shop from the store. I really don't. But if they do go into your store, you at least want to make it look professional. So I don't think we should be spending tons of time making our storefront look amazing, but don't have like a blank banner and put a little bit of effort into it, just so it looks like you're a real business. Make sure that, of course, that we're working on our customer service and feedback. I know that's not something you can change on a dime if you're having slow sales today. However, if you respond quickly to customers and you're using those newsletters and you're sending those coupons and you're doing all the things, it will reflect in better feedback. And, that's not a lever we can pull right now. But like if you haven't ever done newsletters, you haven't ever sent out coupons, you ever haven't done your buyer group, that is a lever that we can use to keep moving forward, to keep that cash cycle going. It will help. I have like a 36% open rate on my newsletters, which isn't fabulous, but I mean, for people getting junk emails, that's not terrible, right? So I would work on that if you have never done it. It's just a tool to use. Make sure, of course, that we are checking out that we're listing the higher sell-through rate items. And I realize that that is something that everybody gets sick of hearing. In my category, the highest sell-through rate item across the board on eBay that I sell is like 11%. So this is like the pot calling the kettle black type of thing, right? Because it doesn't really make sense for me to say that. However, I check my sell-through rates when I list it as far as brands and stuff. I'm trying to get away from the unmarked jewelry unless it's like old check glass, or because when I'm going through my old listings that haven't sold in a month or 2 months, do you know what I'm finding a lot of? Unmarked jewelry, because it's hard to find. So I can have a beautiful piece that isn't signed and it gets lost in eBay land, I feel like. It just, it, I don't know. It's hard for people they're not usually searching for a beaded cluster earring, right? So if they're not searching for it, it's old. How are they ever going to find it? So I feel like a lot of my items that don't sell right away are unmarked jewelry. So like I said, unless it's like Art Deco glass or, some other way I could pull people, an Art Nouveau piece or something that I could pull people in. And on a side note, before I forget, if you sell jewelry, don't put 2 or 3 eras in your title. That makes you look so silly. I saw 3 of them this morning. You can't be in the Georgian and the Victorian and the arts and crafts period and the all the things. It doesn't work that way. It's not a thing. So and in fact, I was in a Whatnot the other day, and she's a really well-known seller and was selling this thing for like 500 or 600 bucks start. And it was a really pretty piece, but she's like, this is from the Georgian era. And I so badly wanted to type more like from late Ronald Reagan era, but okay. Um, if it was one of you guys, I totally would have been like, we're talking like Ronald Reagan, maybe late Jimmy Carter if we're really thinking about it. But that's what era we were in. It was definitely not Georgian. But anyway, so just don't put multiple conflicting information in your titles. That's I see that a lot. It's like, well, what is it? And it makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. So if you don't know, just don't know. I don't know lots of things. So know what levers to pull and push. And if we are having slow sales, I know it's easier to blame eBay, guys, but every complaint you guys have or anybody has that sales are slow, there's somebody else killing it that day. Why are they killing it and you're not? Sometimes it's just not your day, right? I mean, I have low days too. I have days where I'm like, what the heck? Am I turned off today? But if you give to eBay consistently, I mean, if you guys look at my chart, which I need to upload it to the weekly sheet, I've been doing it on my own and then I forget to copy and paste it. but literally this is what my chart kind of looks like. I mean, I might have little bumps, but my output from eBay is pretty darn consistent every week. I run about the same numbers, you know, my gross profit, my net profit are almost, I mean, they're scarily close, but so is my output. What I put into eBay is about what I get out of eBay. Um, if I slack off or I screw stuff up or I start putting in some cheap stuff in a couple weeks, you better believe it, my numbers will go down. So try to reflect on your own self. I'm not saying eBay doesn't have problems. I'm not saying that we can't have slow periods, but if other people are out there killing it, then it's not because of what time of year it is. It's we will have slower times and more up times, but lots of times we can do little things to increase our sales. And we need to be doing them. Otherwise, we're going to run out of money. And that's also why we got to hoard money when we can. You know, because you also never know when the new deal around the corner is. You know, like I have a pretty good opportunity right now. Was I really planning on it? No, but when somebody calls me and has a beautiful box to state, you know, I'm not going to turn it down, especially with hiring the photographer that's starting this weekend. So I'm going to give her, by the way, all of I think I'm going to give her all box new items to start with, all Camrose and Cross items, because I feel like those will be easy to start and easy for her to identify and stuff. So I'm going to start off easy and go that direction. But I'm going to ease into it and see how that goes. But I feel like if we have a good opportunity that hits us and we can't do it because we don't have the money, I mean, those things, that's scary to me. It's scary to me to have to turn down really great deals because I don't have the money. So try to hoard that money when times are good. And sometimes you got to hoard money just what time of year it is, depending on what you sell, so that you have money on the off times too. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you guys want to join in, we will then break and take questions and Q&A and have conversations about the topic we just had and um, see how people are feeling about this and what other people do about it. And if you want to join us, you can go to Reseller Revenue Patreon group, and we meet on Monday through Thursdays. Thank you guys. Hey, it's Carrie with Reseller Revenue. Just wanted to come on and let you know if you'd like to see more of this, if you'd like to see more of my daily calls Monday through Thursday, and you'd like to participate, please go to Reseller Revenue Patreon group, and that's how you join our Facebook group also is through that link. And you can join our morning calls, which we meet every day, Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Time. And then we have other calls afterwards, like we have a shoe call, a clothing call, we have a bunch of different kinds of calls. Also, the jewelry call that I do with Finds of Yesterday is on Tuesday mornings following the morning call. And also, you can get information on how to get personalized one-on-one coaching for an additional fee. From me, we'll review your store. We'll go through different ways you can improve your listings. So I'd love to have you. Please check out Resell Revenue on Patreon.